What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into this video. My name is Anthony. I'm from, I guess you could say, Empire Customs. I'm in the process of kind of reworking that name a little bit and getting things a little bit situated there. The reason for the name was I actually ran a kind of a 3D printing shop for Star Wars and other kind of nerd-related memorabilia. We did a lot of Marvel, we did a lot of Star Wars, we did a lot of Star Trek, quite a few different projects there, and this room that I'm actually in was actually used for that. But a few days ago I actually cleaned it all out, and here we are. So anyway, enough of that. As I said, my name is Anthony. I've previously worked in the video game industry quite extensively. I've worked there for around 10 years. I've done multiple different podcasts. Yeah. So another little bit of a side note here. If you have any ideas for videos or content in the future, please let me know. I'd really appreciate it. I am going to be getting a new microphone and a new stand for this camera just here, just to make it a little bit more professional, as well as a couple more lights around the room and a few different bookshelves behind me to display these books just here, and assorted other books. So yes, anyway, the nature of today's video is more Star Wars related novels and written content. So this channel as a whole will be kind of focusing on like Lego builds, reading, fan home builds as well, which is this right in front of me. This is something that I've recently started doing. It's pretty much a build your own R2-D2. So as you can probably tell, my accent is a little bit messed up. I've lived in Australia all my life, and I've recently moved to the United States. So I'm getting a bit more of a twang, I guess, on my R's, just so then people understand what's going on. Anyway, this is the fan home stuff I was telling you about. So for some reason, I don't know why they sent me two lots of it, but this kind of gives you an idea about the pieces and like kind of what the size and whatnot of the R2-D2 they're sending. So all of this is metal. These bits are plastic, and so on and so forth. Anyway, we're not here to talk about fan home. We're talking about Star Wars Padawan today, written by Kiersten White. This is the book right here. I got this from Barnes & Noble. It is, I believe, 10 USD or 13 Canadian dollars, about $15 Australian, I believe. So this is a 410 page book, if I'm correct. Yep, 410 pages. That is the author right there, as you can see. But pretty much what I wanted to do was I wanted to do a series of videos relating to what I'm currently reading and kind of a breakdown of each chapter of the book of what I'm reading, you know what I mean? So like, let's say tomorrow I'm reading this, you know, and pretty much each video will consist of reading through chapter 1 and then kind of coming away and talking about it. So these would be 15 to 20 minutes each video today. If you're not a reader, this kind of would help you understand kind of where the story is and like what kind of story the book's about and that kind of thing. So please excuse me if I'm like messing up or not making much sense. Again, the comments section is a great place to point out, you know, what I could do better as a YouTuber. This is something that I haven't really done before. So yeah, please let me know in the comments below. Please leave a like. I really appreciate it. So I've read about 60 or so pages, I believe, of this book. I was up to, of course, these aren't mentioned. I was up to chapter 8, page 73 or so, around there. But what I wanted to do is jump back and talk about chapter 1, which is where we're starting today's book. So I'm not going to read it to you. I'm just going to go over kind of what the chapter was about. So this whole book is about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Qui-Gon Jinn, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Master, his trainer. This was back when Obi-Wan Kenobi was a Padawan. Obviously, Qui-Gon Jinn died. He was killed by Darth Maul. If you've seen any of the Star Wars content or whatnot, back in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So this book is a few years prior to that. That's when it's set. And it's about Obi-Wan Kenobi as not a foundling Padawan, but he's around 14 or 15 years old. And he's kind of getting to know his place in the galaxy, I guess you could say. He's been a Padawan of Qui-Gon for, I'm going to guess, around 2 or 3 years now. All of his Padawan friends have been separated off and given their own masters, their own trainers, and they're all Padawans as well. So the first chapter of this book, I'll paint you a picture. They're in the Jedi Padawan training, dining hall. So it's where all of the Padawans in the Jedi Temple go and eat when they're off mission, so as they can, it's like going to a restaurant here, you go and you chat, you meet friends, that kind of thing. You get food, that kind of thing. So chapter 1 opens with Obi-Wan Kenobi sitting at a table with around 4 or 5 of his friends, and he is eating a bowl of soup. And there's a thing called a demon squid. I don't know what that is. It's the first time I've ever heard of that. And somebody pretty much pranked Obi-Wan Kenobi and put that demon squid in his soup. And the opening scene of this book, the opening page, is about Obi-Wan Kenobi eating his soup, and then the demon squid lashes out and grips onto his wrist and forearm here. And it releases poison and whatnot into him, so he starts freaking out, pretty much, and there's this guy called, I believe it's Bola, something around that. I might be butchering that name, but that's the person who's pranked him and put the demon squid in his soup. So he's to blame. So pretty much this other Padawan as well, who's a female, I forget what her name is, she pretty much rescues Obi-Wan Kenobi, pulls the squid out of the soup, and I believe she has like a gift for like animals and being attuned to nature, kind of, as a Jedi. So she gets the squid under control, and she's pretty much telling him, you need to calm down. So that goes on for around a page, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi Qui-Gon Jinn. I always get Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn mixed up for some reason, I don't know why. Qui-Gon Jinn comes into the dining hall, and he's pretty much like asking what's going on, why is there so much noise? And they explain to him like pretty much what happened. The other Padawans explain to Qui-Gon Jinn what pretty much happened, and he kind of looks over at Obi-Wan Kenobi with kind of a smirk, I guess. And then he starts talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he asks him, do you want to go and meditate? And Obi-Wan Kenobi says to Qui-Gon Jinn, instead can we do combat training or lightsaber training? So Qui-Gon thinks about it for a minute, and then he's like, no, I think it's best if we go meditate. And then they end up leaving the Padawan dining hall, going to this secluded area of garden. And Qui-Gon Jinn, because he's a Jedi Knight at that stage, he'd been offered a position on the Jedi Council. But he, as a Jedi Knight, I'm sure you're very well versed in being able to slip into meditation very easily. So he's like, he just sits down and he's automatically in meditation. And then the next couple of pages are about Obi-Wan Kenobi battling with himself, with like his internal feelings. He's feeling, tumultuous, he's feeling upset, he's annoyed, because there's a lot of rumors flying around currently within this book that Qui-Gon Jinn is not a good fit for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you see later on in the book, that kind of goes into that as well, a bit more about how Qui-Gon Jinn was actually assigned Obi-Wan Kenobi instead of Qui-Gon Jinn choosing him as a Padawan. And usually how it works with, the Jedi, the Jedi Masters choose the Padawan. But I believe Master Yoda assigned Obi-Wan Kenobi to Qui-Gon Jinn instead of it being a chosen kind of thing. So Obi-Wan Kenobi is feeling very, upset, annoyed, confused. He doesn't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know if Qui-Gon Jinn's going to leave at this point, because also what's going on at this stage is Count Dooku I believe he's officially left the Jedi Order, and he's kind of off doing his own thing. He's visiting and whatnot. He's visiting the Jedi Temple and whatnot. He hasn't turned to Sith yet. He hasn't turned evil as of yet. But yeah, so all this stuff is kind of in Obi-Wan Kenobi's head. He's confused, he's upset, as I said. So he's thinking about all this, and he's having a very hard time slipping into being able to meditate. So when you look at the, I believe it's here. When you look at it as well, it kind of explains why Qui-Gon hadn't chosen Obi-Wan Kenobi. Qui-Gon Jinn, in a whole, wasn't sure if he actually wanted to stay in the Jedi Order himself, or if he wanted to leave. And if you read, I'm not too sure where that book went, but if you read one of these books in this collection, Master and Apprentice, I believe it was, it explains why Qui-Gon Jinn wasn't sure about if he wanted to be in the Jedi Order, if he wanted to leave and become like a way seeker or something like that. So that's why, again, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a little bit confused. So when you read through this book, there's multiple instances of Qui-Gon Jinn saying to Obi-Wan Kenobi, "I'm troubled, that's why we want to meditate." And they go through them walking to the garden, and then meditating should be challenging, but one crack of an eye revealed Qui-Gon was far, far away. Obi-Wan could even swear there was the slightest hint of air between Qui-Gon and the terrace. He squeezed his eyes shut again, lest he be caught cheating. Meditation, Obi-Wan had to figure it out. He had never been bad at it before his trials, but then again, it had been only one small part of his training. Now, with Qui-Gon, it seemed to be the bulk of it. Obi-Wan couldn't rely on his other skills to compensate. Maybe that was what he hated. Meditation laid his weaknesses bare in front of him. There was nothing else to think about, nothing to do but face them, and Obi-Wan was terrified of them. And then he was terrified of being terrified, because fear was a path to the dark side, which made his need to figure out meditation even more desperate, which made his heart race even more, which made his wrist burn even more, where the demon squid stung him. Which made any state where he could reach out and connect to the Force was blocked. He could do this. He had to be able to do this. He reached out to the Force and tried to grasp it, and ended up empty-handed time and time again. So while his master sat in perfect harmony, Obi-Wan squirmed miserable, soup-soaked and utterly devoid of any sort of tranquility. His stomach twisted with the increasing certainty that the source of Qui-Gon's trouble was in fact Obi-Wan himself. He was failing as being a Padawan. And then, as you can see in this book as well, I just went and ruined it. It's got cool intermission pages. So that's the end of chapter 1. Please let me know your thoughts on that, like what Obi-Wan could have been thinking, what he was feeling, how Qui-Gon Jinn could have done a better job as his Jedi Master. Let me know in the comments below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of, I don't know what it's going to be called, but yeah, that's the first chapter of Star Wars Padawan by Kiersten White. If you have any more video ideas or anything like that, please let me know in the comments below. I am going to be kind of editing a little bit more for this video and adding in a few cool elements and whatnot. So yeah. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what other Star Wars books you enjoy reading as well, or what other movies or TV series or whatnot. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, and thank you very much for watching. Bye now.